Refocus Podcast with your host, life coach Jeff Relaford. This podcast is designed for those who wish to change their inner self in order to maximize outward potential. So come redirect, regroup, and refocus with your number one life coach, Jeff Relaford.
Hello, everybody. And what's up, y'all? It's your boy, Life Coach Jeff, coming to you again live with another episode of the Redirect, Regroup, Refocus podcast. Now, hey, man, as I always say, I want to thank you all for listening, tuning in, paying attention, the whole nine. I'm telling you, I couldn't do this without you, the viewers. So I greatly appreciate you all for tuning in. So on today's agenda, we're going to go right to it, people. The main thing we're going to talk about today is 3 reasons why, okay? Three reasons why you struggle to learn. And the reason why I picked struggling to learn today was because I've realized that this is something greatly that we all struggle to do. We all struggle to take on something new and to just capitalize off of it. So I want to take the time to really just talk about why you may struggle to learn and why I myself have also struggled to learn over the years. I'm not going to teach anything that I haven't had to go through myself or that's not talked about mainstream, but particularly I got to go through it myself. So we're going to get right into it. The 3 reasons are this, okay? The big one is you fail to accept change. That's number 1. And then the second one is you fail to complete difficult tasks to completion. Now that is a big one for a lot of people. And the last one is that your excuses take the place of your experience. Okay, we're going to get right into it, y'all. So this is the deal. We're going to dive right into number 1. Like I said, why you struggle to learn, okay? First thing is you fail to accept change. Let me just tell y'all, accepting change is one of the biggest and hardest things for any of us to do. You know what I mean? Especially when we put ourselves in uncomfortable situations. What did I say last week? Whenever you want to know how to do something or use yourself to the fullest example or ability, what do you have to do? You have to place yourself in uncomfortable situations, right? You have to place yourself in uncomfortable situations so that way it will push you into your next level of learning. That's what it does, people. You have to be able to accept change. And like I said last week, being adaptable is very key to that. But y'all didn't know that this day we were going to hit y'all with this learning curve, literally hit you with a learning curve. But that's why you struggle with learning, because a lot of times you don't want to accept change. What is change, man? Let's see, man. Look, I like to go ahead and do this stuff on the fly. Okay, so what is change? Okay, change by definition is this. Change is make someone or something different, alter or modify to replace something with something else, especially something of the same kind that is newer or better. I like that second definition better, because a lot of times people, we don't want to, we're always afraid to experience something newer and better, right? Because we have an issue. And I say we have an issue with it because sometimes experiencing newer and better is a fear for us because we don't know the outcome of that fear and better. That's the difference between fear and anxiety. I'm not going to go into that right now, but we have we don't know what the expectation will bring of newer and better, which is why we have a hard time accepting change. Okay. And first, to know what accepting change is, you have to know what the word means. This is why I started off with the definition, and if you use in the form of a noun, it says what? The act or instance of making or becoming different. So I want you to really look at that. So change means movement also. So there's going to be some work that you have to put in order to accept change. Well, like I said, we have a fear of it because we don't know the expected outcome on the end. The whole part of change is you're not supposed to actually know the outcome of change. You're supposed to enjoy the ride that comes along with the change. Let me say that one more time. It doesn't matter about the outcome that happens with the change. You're always striving for a positive outcome. But what you're supposed to do is, people, you are supposed to ride the wave of the experience of the change. And it should be something that's going to make you better, right? It should be something that's going to make you better. So why wouldn't you want to ride the wave of positivity? Could it be because you've had a life where you are now looking at the fact that maybe you were miserable? And this is the reality for a lot of people, right? This is not just my reality. It has been my reality at one point in time, but it's not that now because I am happy. I am happy to be in the spot that I am in. I'm happy to be making these new connections that I am with certain people. Like today, I'm going to a board meeting. I'm a part of a board, part of the a group called Brothers Keeper in Gary, Indiana, and it's a all men's homeless shelter. So for men, it's a great thing. So I'm very excited to get into dabble in that. It's when you start actually doing the thing that you love and you're aligning yourself with it. You know what I mean? With the whole experiences, the people you link up with and talk to. So now what happens is this. Now I'm not worried about my outcome because I don't have to be. I don't have to be because I'm actually out here doing the thing that I love to do. So the thing is, people, number one, you struggle with change. Step number one is because you fail to accept change. I'm telling you, it's not going to be pretty in the beginning. It's not going to always look the way that you want it to look. But know that change is the most prudent thing that will ever take place in your life if you want to excel and if you want to move forward when it comes to your goals, your dreams, your hopes, anything of that nature. Change is not an add-on. It's not something to just complement something that you're doing already. No, it is a necessity. Change is a necessity. If you want to do better, you will strive to do better, and you will hold on to accepting change. Now we're going to move on to step two. What did I say step two was? That is, you fail to complete difficult tasks. Now I want to say difficult tasks because the thing is this. The hardest things that are the most hardest things for us to do are the difficult ones. So see, with this podcast, once again, you all know we focus on inner change for outward potential, right? Inner change for outward potential. So the thing is this, if you're always doing the easy stuff, you can't challenge yourself, right? If you're always completing the easy task, you can't challenge yourself. But one reason why it's hard for you to fail, the second reason why it's hard for you to fail is because you cannot complete difficult tasks to completion. Now, this is why I said you fail to accept change in the beginning, because if you accept change in the beginning and you learn how to process change, then you'll be able to go on to step number two and be able to complete those different difficult tasks to completion, people. I'm just trying to tell you things. This is what I'm in transition with doing now. You know, I had to take a challenge from one of the guys that I follow, that I really idolize, and he opened up my mind to a whole bunch of knowledge and way of thinking. So what did I have to do? I had to accept the change that I was going to be taking with my shift in the mindset pertaining to different aspects and ways that I move, right? And now I'm actually working on completing the difficult task. Because let's just be real, people. Whenever you try to learn something new and you go through it by a step-by-step basis, it's always going to be harder to complete the task. I don't care what situation you're in, because then even if it becomes effortless to you, even if it seems effortless as you're going through the motion, let me tell you what happens. You still have to deal with the fact once you've completed the task, you have to accept and be like, oh my gosh, I just did this. It's the aha moment that happens after you do the big thing that you didn't think you could do. It's the aha moment after accepting the great accomplishment that you did. Sometimes you gotta have the moment where it just all sinks in, right? It all has to make sense to you. So you need time to what, people? Process that. So while you're processing, you got to be like, hey, I can't believe I actually completed this difficult task. I'm telling you, people, I've seen so many times people, I've always talked to certain people, and when I ask them, okay, well, what are you doing? They give me the most vaguest answer in the world. They don't say they didn't put anything out there to test it. They didn't say they talked to other people to get different opinions or answers from it. They're always scared to move. They're always scared to move. And that's how you know that the task that they have to complete is the most difficult. Because as a coach, when I ask people, I say, okay, well, what are you doing to work on yourself or better yourself? Just a plain question, simplest question in the world. What are you doing to better yourself? It's like, well, I read, I study my Bible. I might do this, or I might do that, or I might read some self-help books. Okay. And then when I get down to nitty gritty, I say, well, what are you doing as far as action? Because you completing the difficult task requires action. Now, I haven't said that before. Even when you accept change, accepting change requires action, right? It's going to force you to move down a path to where you have to start completing difficult tasks to completion. And that, like I said, people, that's one of the hardest things that we can do. And a lot of times we're just not ready for it. I'll tell you this, man, if you keep shying away from wanting to complete the task, you'll never be ready. If you keep dodging the bullet, you'll never be ready. So think about it like this. You think when Oprah started doing her thing, she was ready. She knew she could do it, but was she essentially ready? You know what I mean? You have to put yourself in their shoes. Steve Jobs, when he did Apple, he knew he could do it, but was he ready for everything? I actually watched the Jobs movie with Ashton Kutcher in it. First time I'd ever seen it. Great movie. I wish I would have discovered it earlier. That's a movie that we all need to watch. I promise you. If you're somebody who just wants to be motivated to create something, to do something, to have a shift in the mindset in your life, please watch the Jobs movie with Ashton Kutcher in it. It's on Netflix. Great movie. And there was a part in the movie, where the very same company he created, they kicked him out of. He wasn't ready for that. I'm going to tell you, people, when you embark on the journey, you have to be okay with completing the difficult task. He had started in his garage. Steve Jobs started in his whole garage, okay? And they didn't even know he was doing the business out of his garage until an investor came to him. They shoved some money in front of him. This man went from his garage to an office building, okay? And when he went to that office building, he had employees, people he was running. You're never ready for the difficult task that's going to be in front of you until you get ready to embark on the journey. But what does it start with, people? What did I say earlier? You have to accept change first. And once you accept change first, then you have to start completing the difficult tasks to completion. I'll give you an example. One thing that I'm learning how to do is tackle ads. Okay. It takes time and money to do that. In some cases, when you buy yourself, it can take less time, but a lot of money. That's what I'm learning. But there's been some things that I've been looking at that can help me scale down on the money, pay attention to what the ads actually are doing so I can study. And see, that's a part of learning too. See, that's part of me completing the difficult task. I knew that it was going to take some money to run these ads, but what did I do? I had to pay attention to the data. I'm constantly looking at data. I'm constantly looking at how stuff is doing. I'm constantly looking at conversion. Currently, I'm converting these views on my show at least 10% of what's going on. So that's actually a great number when you look in terms of what reach is, your ad, and everything like that. This is just me off of studying, looking at books, other stuff like that. But I just want to throw that out as an example. That is a difficult task that I have to complete. Now, let me bring it down to your level real quick. You could have a hard time with just cleaning up your house, right? The most difficult task for you is trying to complete the strategy so that you can keep your house clean 24/7. It's a mindset thing. It's a mental thing. You're failing to accept the change that you can actually implement some tasks to do better. That's what it is. That's why you struggle with the change, because you have to realize that there are tasks that you could do in order to get a better result for the goal that you wish to reach. Simple as that. But it's tough for everybody in the beginning. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong. There are some people who could just move just like that. You know what I mean? But it's a reason why we all struggle with learning to some degree and to some point. And I'm telling you, these are three keys right here. It's because you fail to accept change, you fail to complete difficult tasks to completion. And now we're gonna move to the last part. This is very big. This is very, very big. Your excuses take the place of your experience. Now I want to tell you what I mean by this. When I say your excuses take place of your experience, that is you simply wasting time. Simply wasting time. That's all it is. Simply wasting time. You keep saying, oh, it'll come around, or you're waiting for the right moment, or you're waiting for the right time to do something, when really the time is now. If you do not implement your goals, your wishes, your dreams, even just the small stuff that you want to get done, you say, hey, I want to be better about cleaning out my car. You know what I mean? Do it now. Do it now. Think about what happens when you clean your car. Don't you feel great about yourself? You are in a nice, clean car. You can drive around. Shoot, you might even pick up a few of your friends that you never even picked up before, right? Because they finally see you in this vehicle and they're like, oh man, dog, I didn't know it could look like this. Just little stuff. I'm trying to make sure I bring it down to that level so you actually understand and you can see how this relates to you. You know, I have business people who listen to this too. They can relate these tactics to business. So how you would actually relate to business is just like I said earlier, doing the ads, advertising, marketing, knowing how to put yourself out there, being on camera more, doing a podcast just like this. You know what I mean? Those are the difficult tasks and humps that you have to get over. So then you could feel comfortable with your steps, comfortable with your way of learning, right? Comfortable with your ability. Because a lot of the times why we can't complete any of these steps is because we lack. Oh, what am I trying to say? Hold on. We lack the self-confidence in our own abilities in order to do the very same thing that we wish to create or complete. Create or complete. You want to create a happy life for you? You can create a happy life for you. You can start thinking more positively. You can start reading more books on positivity. You can focus on self-help and development internally. But what's the hard step? The hard step is for most people accepting the fact that they actually need it, right? Real talk. I sat up here and I talked to my wife the other day and I said, you know, babe, I was thinking about, just talking to a therapist. I don't think I need it, but, you always want to be safe when it comes to stuff like that. With me being a life coach, y'all, it's a lot of stuff that I've learned to accept over the years and just grow with. You know what I mean? So I want to tell my people, therapy isn't a bad thing. It's not. Sometimes you just need somebody to talk to outside of it. And I talk to many of people. I'm talking family, friends. I talk to many of people about certain issues and different things that go on in my life. So that is my therapy and my clarity. I also go ahead. I have my time when I just need to pray on things. And I talk to God. Like I tell you all the time, I believe in God. I don't care who y'all believe in, but that's what I believe in. You know what I mean? So I go ahead, I talk and I pray to God about certain things. I do these things because they bring me a level of peace. But what did I have to do? I had to get to some point where I had to accept change, right? I had to complete the difficult task of accepting a lot of the different things that were inside of me at that time, because there was a time when Life Coach Jeff had a lot of anger, rage inside of him, a lot of difficulty dealing with things from his past in his childhood that I had to get over in my mid-20s in order to be this person that I am right now at the age of 33. But if I did not complete those difficult tasks to completion, start the task and do it to completion all the way through, I would not be the man that I am today. But I also did not allow my excuses to take place of my experience. We can always play the blame game for everything in our lives, right? We can always say, okay, why we didn't have a successful business. Oh, these people didn't want to buy. Well, you didn't try to implement a way to try to attract the people to make them buy. Right? This is always two sides to a coin. It's called heads and tails for a reason. If it was a double-sided coin, you'd always get the same result every time. But it's a two-sided coin, people. A double-edged sword, it cuts both ways. that usually means you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But that two-sided coin means you have options. So I'm here to let you know, live your life like it's a double-sided coin. If you get served heads all the time, figure out a way to make it tails. If you get served bad all the time, if that's how you feel, figure out a way to make it good. Because there's always a way to flip everything that you do for a much better outcome. Always. If you allow your excuses to take place of your experience, I can promise you this, that you will stay stuck in a rut internally, and it will show externally in your life for the rest of your life. And I have no problem saying that, people. I have no problem saying that. And the only way you come to this conclusion is that you have to be willing to change. You have to be willing to learn. Because I want you all to think about that word learning as an experience, as a journey, right? Learning is something that is never ending. Now, you come across a lot of people who don't wish to learn anything new at all. You know what I mean? They are content in their bubble. They're content in their space, and they don't want nobody to interrupt their simple life. They don't want nobody to interrupt the things that they do because they are what we call content. We all know people like that. But if there's something that you wish to change and you don't want to be content, I'm challenging you. Look at the reason why you struggle to learn. Like I said, people, I'll repeat it again. You fail to accept change. You do not complete tasks to completion, especially difficult ones that can help you affect the change. And you allow your excuses to take place of your experience. I'm telling you, people, we can play the blame game all day. But at the end of the day, what we got to realize is that you are in control of your own feelings, your emotions. You know what I mean? Those things that allow you to stay in and out of certain spaces, such as conversations, how you move with people, the dialogue that you bring to the table. Because certain dialogue that you bring to the table, you have to be mindful of it rubbing people the wrong way. You know what I mean? These are just examples of things that if you do not pay attention to them, they will end up being the excuses that take place of your experiences. Because what will happen is you're not learning from the way that you could be reaching people, from the way how you rub off to others. You know what I mean? You may leave a bad taste in somebody else's mouth, but learn why you actually left it there. Be able to take a deep dive within yourself to see, to look at why you struggle with learning. And this learning isn't just, I want to let you all know, this learning just isn't about different tasks or information. It's also learning about you and yourself as well. That's why I say when you learn to embrace the journey. Learn to embrace not a struggle. Okay. We always like to say the struggle is real. We always like to say, okay, you have to go through something to get to something, which is cool too. I do believe that to some extent. But when you go through something to get to something, it's all about perception. There's a lot that I've been through, but it's only been flipped to make me better. That's how I see my life. You know, and there's a lot of people I can go around saying, well, they did this, they did that. I should have did this. I should have did that. Yeah. And 9 times out of 10, I should have went a different way. Let's just be real. I'm pretty sure that some of the people I've interacted with, they said the same exact thing. They should have went a different way. But that's what it is, people. Once you put the accountability on yourself, your excuses will never take the place of your experience, because you start to realize and embrace the fact that learning is a journey. And if you are willing to go on the journey called learning, I guarantee you, your soul will be fed. Your soul will be fed all the time. So I'm challenging y'all today. I really am challenging y'all. Please really take the time to look at these 3 reasons why you struggle with learning. Apply them to yourself. You can add to or take away. You might be okay with embracing change, but you might have a hard time just doing these difficult tasks to completion pertaining to yourself, inward and externally, you know, or you might not have a problem doing tasks to completion, in the bubble that you're in right now, but you might have a hard time accepting change, or you might be okay with the two, but you're not willing to take a step even further because the harder it gets for you, your excuses take the place of your experience. Now, let's put that backwards for you. If your excuses take the place of your experience, that means you have a hard time completing the difficult task, right? To completion. And then if you have a hard time completing the difficult task to completion, that means you cannot accept your change. So I hope I flipped the script on you a little bit. Though these three can be reversible. And like I said, if they all don't apply to you, take one. Be real with yourself. Ask the question and say, hey, does this really apply to me today? So, all right, y'all, I got to dip out. I got to go to a board meeting tonight. But, hey, it was great being with you all. I'm so happy that you all took the time to listen. Please like and share. Let people know that this is out there. You know what I mean? Because we just want to help people today. That's all it is. So once again, these are the 3 reasons why you struggle with learning. It's because you fail to accept change. You have a difficult time completing tasks to completion, especially the difficult ones. And then third and lastly, you allow your excuses to take place of your experience. So, all right, y'all, this Life Coach Jeff coming to you live. Remember, redirect, regroup, refocus. I love y'all. Peace out. Thank you for listening and tuning into the Redirect, Regroup, Refocus podcast. We do thank you and appreciate and value you as a listener. Now, I would like to just throw in, please follow us on social media. You can follow us on Instagram as Redirect, Regroup, Refocus, and also Life Coach Jeff Relaford. You can also find me on Facebook as Jeff Relaford. That's my personal page. Go ahead, give me a follow there. I always put up some good inspirational content. And also the business page, Redirect, Regroup, Refocus on Facebook as well. So, all right, you all, thank you for tuning in. And next week, we will be here again. Remember, Redirect, Regroup, Refocus. I love y'all.